The Miller's Tale centers on three men's sexual desire for one woman, Alisoun, and doesn't seem particularly interested in what Alisoun herself desires. Eventually, she clearly chooses Hendy Nicholas, although the consent of that initial encounter seems iffy by 21st century standards. Both of the younger men are in various ways using and abusing the tropes of something called courtly love. And courtly love is a cultural phenomenon we have to talk about. It's very important in early European or early modern and medieval European culture. It matters through the Middle Ages, up through the Renaissance, and arguably still today in attenuated forms. It is really one of the great ideological and cultural ideas that come out of the Middle Ages. It initially enters Europe through the south of France from Arabic Muslim poets who have a kind of poetry about how love is painful, how it burns, how it's terrible. It emphasizes the poetic suffering of the lover. And once the poets in the south of France, the troubadours, get a hold of it, it kind of spreads through Western European culture, certainly to Italy, through the rest of France, and to that great French-speaking island, England, which is, of course, still a bilingual island in Chaucer's time, French and English-speaking among the upper classes, with some Latin too, because every really educated person in medieval Europe also has to speak Latin, the international European language of the day. Courtly love poses the male lover as a suffering servant to his lady. The beloved is a lady, and the lover's job is to offer his service and to complain about how miserable he is and how love is killing him, making him suffer, making him physically ill. Get used to it. It's coming in Unit 2 in Book 3 of the Fairy Queen, which is in various ways about different kinds of romantic love and sex and chastity, your favorite virtue. Um, Even though the third book of the Fairy Queen is about as far morally from the Miller's Tale as you can get. The one thing to remember about courtly love is a knightly thing. It's about a knight and its lady. Is it wrong? Now, the boys here are doing it wrong or deliberately doing it wrong. Is it wrong that they're doing this they're pitching the courtly love pitch to a married woman? No. The medieval courtly love tradition was innately adulterous. It is about a young man at court who falls in love and falls at the knees of some unavailable, because married, woman. Kind of a strange love triangle between a young knight or squire and his lord through the lord's wife. To what degree is that a kind of cultural fantasy, and to what degree does that describe actual behaviors in Western Europe among the elites of the time? It's a mix of both. It's the world as people imagined it and as they did it. It's not clear, and it's hard at this distance to untangle how much was real and how much was an idea, a kind of story the culture told itself, and how much was real because it was working on a story the culture told itself. Absalom is a very good courtly lover. He is well dressed, he's pretty, he plays a strings instrument, he shows up at the door, but he's always blowing it. The first catastrophic thing, he shows up to serenade her with his guitar under the door like a cittern. It's an ancestor of the guitar. Lutes are going to be a big deal for most of the first four units here. And he shows up to serenade her, and he says, "I'm suffering for love. Take pity on me." This is all the courtly love script. He's got it right down. He's internalized it. He's made a mistake. You're not supposed to go over and serenade the lady under her window when her husband is at home in bed with her, and there's that great reveal where we get Absalom singing and making his complaint of love. Lovers complain. By which they mean they talk about how painful love is to them. Love is awful. You'll see in Book 3 of the Fairy Queen having falling in love is like having a terrible viral infection. You sweat. And he talks about, I sweat, you sweat, you feel you can't eat. It's awful. It kills your appetite. You're up all night. It's terrible. He makes this complaint with his music outside the ladies' door at night. That's great. And he's been doing this. Then we get a cut to John saying, "Isn't that hey, Allison? Isn't that Absalom from church?" And she's like, "Yeah, John, I hear it every deal." Okay, so he's blowing it. The joke is on Absalom. The real joke on Absalom is that courtly love is for the elites. It is part of the dominant culture. It is for knights and ladies. Alison is no lady, and that's not a moral description, though in some ways it is meant to be in the terms of the Miller's Tale. She's not ladylike because she's not sexually chaste. She's a commoner. She's not a lady in the class sense of that word. And Absalom is not a knight or a squire. He's also a kind of country village person, or a townsman, he said. He's just a lowly, the word was citizen, someone who lives in the city, in the town. He's a burgher. This kind of high romance, it was never meant for people like this. And Chaucer's Miller's Tale takes for granted that trying to enact these kind of upper-class romantic rituals is going to go badly for people who belong to a much lower class and should do it differently. Henry Nicholas, Clerk of Oxenford, the best educated character in this tale, also uses the tropes of courtly love. He says, if you don't love me back, I will die. The standard courtly love behavior. If it sounds a little stalkerish, courtly love became part of the DNA and has been picked up by various kinds of people who are not terribly interested in consent. And also, we can make an argument that the courtly love trope was never really interested in what the woman wanted. This is the pitch is that the lover's complaint is always, I love you, it makes me miserable. What are you going to do about it, lady? It doesn't get reversed. It never gets, it is not the normal thing for the woman to say, what are you going to do about it, Charlie? I'm feeling really hot for you. I'm suffering. Come on, take some pity. Nicholas says, if I don't have you, I'll die. He's using the courtly love script, but he's using it cynically. He doesn't believe it. He's already grabbed her by the crane top in that great homophonic rhyme. Oh, because clerks be so subtle and so quaint. They're so quaint. And he grabs her, and then he does the least subtle thing. Right after Chaucer tells us how subtle Henry Nicholas is, he does the least subtle thing imaginable, which is grab the vajayjay. As unsubtle. And then he starts talking the game about how I love you. It's a much crasser. Henry Nicholas at least knows what kind of tale he's in. He knows he's in a commoner's jokey sex comedy, and he's acting that way like the lustful peasant he and the rest of them are in the class stereotypes of Chaucer's imagination. Absalom goes back for a second time when Henry Nicholas and Alison have finally got some time together with John sleeping in his kneading tub hanging from the ceiling. And Absalom comes again to complain of love, and he blows it. And here, and this is what matters for us as English majors, learning how to close read and practicing that skill, he blows it partly through his choice of imagery. Metaphor matters. The kind of imagery you use matters. Most of what we know about Alison, we know about from that long description of her through various kinds of similes, what she is as slim as, what she's as shiny as, etc., etc., etc. Here's Absalom coming over from line 3698 on page 111 if you have this edition. He comes over and says, what do ye, honeycomb, sway to Alison, my fair breed, my sweet cinnamon? Okay, that's not so bad. That's right. She's your honeycomb. She's your bird. She's your cinnamon. Cinnamon is still exotic, expensive. It's imported from far away. But notice we're already global enough. We're already importing cinnamon into England from the Far East by the late 1300s. Awaketh lemon mine, my lover, and spaketh to me. Well little thinken ye upon my woe. Oh, you don't think much about my woe, my misery. The woe is this. He's following the standard script. It's the right script. He's the wrong guy. You don't think about my woe. You don't take pity on me. Or, that for your love I sweat, there I go. I sweat wherever I go. That's a little gross. But the sweat, like, okay, the idea that, like, it's a miserable thing, you make me sweat, I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him. Close enough. No wonder is though that I swelter and sweater. I mourn as doth a lamb after the tater. Now we're in trouble, Absalom. Okay, I swelter and I sweat. Fine. I mourn or pine like a lamb after the mother's teat. That farm animal reference, first of all, that's not a very romantic image, and it's a fairly gross image. And Absalom troped himself. He used a simile comparing himself to a lamb suckling its mother. Okay, to a barnyard animal, but also an immature animal, not fully sexually mature. He infantilized himself. It's not so sexy. As game goes, this is a big mistake. So far, it's been basically the right script, though he isn't from the social class to carry this kind of thing off. Now he's blowing it by picking bad metaphors. Wait, could it get worse? You wish lemon, I have switched love longinga. Okay, I wish lemon is lover beloved. That's okay. I have love longing. That like a turtle trua is my morninga. A turtle, and they're going to use this in later units too. Turtle here for the earlier English means turtle dove. They're images of love because they made for life. Turtle dove is good. Turtle dove is fine. I may eat no more than a maid. I may eat no more than a maiden. Okay. He's made himself, and actually, like, okay, I can't eat is also part of the standard courtly love lover's complaint, but he has made it, I'm just like a little girl. I'm like a pre-sexual teenage girl. Absalom's kind of catastrophic choice of similes makes him immature, asexual, takes away his own masculinity. Now, he doesn't have on a plot level, he doesn't have a good chance anyway, because she is already in bed with another man whom she enjoys, who is more aggressive. This would kill him even if she were alone. What does no sound like? Like this. Go from the window, Jack a fool, she said. Jack fool, go away from the window. As help me God, it will not be come me. It won't be come kiss me. Get out of here. That is a no. That is a solid no. Absalom is part of a long masculine tradition of not hearing no. This is stalkery. It is also courtly love is also about wearing him down. You keep complaining. You keep being refused, and then you talk about how painful your unrequited love is. And you are worthier because she doesn't love you back. It's a twisted logic. It should be a familiar twisted logic to you because it's been in our culture for a long time now. I love another, and else I were to blame. Well better than thee, by Jesu, Absalom. Go forth thy way, I will cast a stone. Get out of here, or I'll throw a rock at you. What could be simpler? I'll say this for Allison. Allison is under no illusions about what kind of story she is. She doesn't think she's a lady. Get out of here, Jack fool. I love somebody else. I'm not kidding. You know, because you get out of my window or I'll throw a rock at you. Yes, she is Allison from the block. This should be extremely clear. Now, I'm used to reading, and I want to teach you to read carefully, subtly, to look for nuances, to look for extra levels of meaning. But right here, the primary meaning is super clear. We cannot go through and close read that and find the subtle hints of encouragement. There are no subtle hints of encouragement. Nothing about this is subtle. It's super clear. What does Absalom do? Oh, it's it. And let me sleep a 20 devil way. So she curses at him with the devil thing. Alas, quod Absalom, and why the way that true love was ever so evil beset. Oh, that true love suffers like this. Sticking to the script. It's the wrong script. He should not stick to the script. He is not the proper, he is not cast well to play this script. Don't try to play George Clooney's game when you're Jason Alexander. Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza on Seinfeld. Then kiss me, said it may no bit, for Jesus' love and for the love of May. Love of you, okay. Okay, you reject me, then just give me a kiss. That's how he hears no. Wilt thou then go away, quoth she? Yes, certes, Laman, quoth this Absalom. Then make thee ready, quoth she, I come anon. Are you go away, you want a kiss? Fine. And unto Nicholas she said a steal, now hust and thou shalt laughen all thy feeling. Okay, it's not funny. Then Absalom down set him on his knees and said, I am a lord in all degrees. Go bless me, for after this I hope there cometh more. Lemon thy grace and sweetbread thine ore. The window she undoth that in haste. Have do, quoth she. Come of and speed thee fast, lest that our neighbors thee espy. This Absalom gan wipe his mouth full dry. Dark as the night is pitch or as the coal, and at the window out she put her hole. And Absalom him fell no better nor worse, but with his mouth he kissed her naked earth. Allison delivers the absolute come down to any courtly love fantasy Absalom might be having, right? Like, yeah, I'll give you a kiss. Here's a kiss. Pucker up, buttercup. Kisses her naked earth, her nether eye. Full severally, ere he was ware of this, he gives it a really good long kiss. Aback he started, and thought it was amiss. Aback he started, something's wrong. For when he wist a woman hath no beard. Woman's what's happening? What's a beard? What's the hair happening there? He felt the thing all rough and long a hair. And said, Fie, alas, what have I do? Tee-hee, quoth she, and clapped the window too. The great thing about Allison is she keeps it really simple. There's a whole bunch of courtly love fantasies that Absalom is building. Allison has none of that. Now he is getting over it with his, he was squeamish to begin with, doesn't like farting. Now he's kissed somebody's bunghole, and he's disgusted. This silly Absalom, both Absalom and John are described as silly, which is the ancestor of our word silly, but at this time means innocent. There's a little sense of not being smart enough in that day. They're innocent, they're not fully experienced. Children in the Middle Ages are silly, meaning they just haven't grown up yet. They don't know things. This said Absalom had every deal, and on his lip he gan for anger bite, and to himself he said, I shall thee quite. I will requite thee. I will pay you back. I'm going to get thee, sucker. Who rubbeth now? Who frotheth now his lips with dust, with sand, with straw, with cloth, with chips? He's just rubbing and can't get it off. And he's goes for revenge to his friend the blacksmith and gets the red-hot iron. The rest is comedy. Absalom finally gets it into his head what kind of story he's in, which is a download dirty comedy story. He's in a Belushi script, not a Cary Grant script. He's in Bridesmaids, not pick your romantic. This is not a romantic comedy. This is Bridesmaids. There are going to be lower track jokes, and he gets it together and manages to get his revenge on Hendy Nicholas at least. Okay, courtly love will come back. Love is going to be very much an issue in The Wife of Bath's Tale, which is going to have a very different representation of relations between men and women. And Book 3 of The Fairy Queen is all about heterosexuality and its contents and discontents.